In the world of fighting games, few titles have left an impact as massive as Tekken 3. When it hit arcades in 1997, it was already turning heads with its fluid animations, hard-hitting combat, and deep roster. But when it arrived on the PlayStation in 1998, it did something few arcade ports had ever achieved. It delivered a near-flawless experience that some even preferred over the arcade version. With over 8 million copies sold, Tekken 3 wasn't just a hit, it became the best-selling fighting game on the PlayStation and is still regarded as one of the greatest fighters of all time. It introduced fan-favorite characters like Jin Kazama Hwoarang, refined the fighting mechanics, and pushed the PlayStation hardware to its absolute limits. But what made Tekken 3 stand out from other fighters of its era? How did Namco manage to create such a smooth and technically impressive experience on Sony's first console? Let's dive into the development, gameplay, and legacy of this legendary fighter. By the mid-90s, Namco was on a mission to push 3D fighting games to the next level. Tekken 2 had already been a huge success, but for Tekken 3, they wanted something faster, smoother, and more refined, and they delivered. Arcade evolution and a new engine. Tekken 3 debuted in 1997 on Namco's System 12 arcade hardware, a step up from the System 11 that powered Tekken 2. This upgrade allowed for smoother animations, more detailed character models, and faster gameplay, setting a new standard for 3D fighters. The movement system was overhauled, introducing sidestepping to make fights feel more dynamic and tactical. The challenge of the PlayStation port. Bringing a cutting-edge arcade game to the aging PlayStation hardware was no easy task. The PS1 lacked the raw power of the arcade boards, so Namco had to rebuild character models with lower polygon counts and compressed textures to fit everything in. Despite the downgrades, they optimized the game brilliantly, keeping the core gameplay intact while adding new content exclusive to the PS1 version. A legendary console port. Namco didn't just port Tekken 3, they expanded it. The PS1 version introduced Tekken Force Mode, a beat-em-up side game that added variety. They also included Gun, a tiny dinosaur from a Japanese manga, as a surprise guest fighter. The result? One of the greatest arcade-to-console ports ever, proving that the PS1 was still capable of delivering a high-quality 3D fighter despite its hardware limitations. Tekken 3 wasn't just another sequel, it was a revolution. Namco refined and expanded nearly every aspect of the gameplay, making fights feel smoother, faster, and more strategic than ever before. It introduced new mechanics, fresh characters, and exciting modes, ensuring that it remained engaging for both casual players and competitive fighters. Faster, smoother, and more tactical combat. One of the biggest upgrades was sidestepping. Earlier Tekken games were mostly limited to left and right movement, but Tekken 3 introduced true 3D movement, letting players step into and out of the background. This transformed the flow of combat, allowing for better positioning, dodging, and counterplay. The game's overall speed was dramatically increased compared to Tekken 2. Fighters moved more fluidly, attacks were snappier, and combos felt faster and more responsive. Jumping was toned down. In Tekken 2, jumps were high and floaty, making aerial combat feel unrealistic. Tekken 3 brought jumps closer to the ground, making juggles and air combos more technical and rewarding. The improved hit detection and animation fluidity meant that every punch, kick, and counter hit felt weighty and satisfying, making fights incredibly immersive. A roster packed with legends. Namco didn't just refine the gameplay, they also built one of the best fighting game rosters ever, introducing fan-favorite characters that would go on to define the series. Jin Kazama, the new main protagonist, blending his father Kazuya's brutal power with his mother Jun's fluid grace. Hwoarang, a taekwondo master with some of the flashiest kick combos in the game. Eddie Gordo, the breakout star of Tekken 3, using capoeira's unpredictable movements to confuse and overwhelm opponents. Ling Xiaoyu, a fast, acrobatic fighter with a unique mix of dodges, flips, and tricky attacks. These fresh faces joined returning legends like Heihachi, Paul Phoenix, Nina Williams, and Yoshimitsu, giving the game a diverse and well-balanced cast. Each fighter had a distinct fighting style, making for deeper, more strategic matchups. Whether you preferred powerful strikes, fast kicks, or tricky counters, Tekken 3 had a character for you. More than just a fighting game. The PS1 version of Tekken 3 didn't just bring the arcade experience home, it added tons of extra content to keep players coming back for more. Tekken Force Mode, a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you fought through waves of enemies, adding a whole new way to enjoy the game. Tekken Ball Mode, the wild, volleyball-style minigame where you smacked a giant ball at your opponent to deal damage. It was fun, unexpected, and surprisingly competitive. Unlockable content, characters, costumes, and even modes were locked behind progression, rewarding players for sticking with the game and mastering different fighters. This extra depth and variety helped Tekken 3 become more than just a great fighting game, it became a legendary PlayStation title that felt fresh long after its release. Tekken 3 wasn't just a success, it became one of the most influential fighting games of all time. With over 8.5 million copies sold on the PlayStation alone, it remains the best-selling Tekken game and one of the top 5 best-selling PlayStation titles ever. In fact, it outsold every other fighting game on the console, making it the undisputed king of PS1 fighters. But its legacy goes far beyond sales numbers. A gold standard for 3D fighting games. Tekken 3 redefined what a 3D fighter could be. The introduction of sidestepping and faster combat set a new benchmark for depth and movement in fighting games. Other franchises, including Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, and even Dead or Alive, took inspiration from Tekken 3's fluidity and mechanics. The game's juggle combo system, which rewarded players for launching opponents into the air and extending attacks, became a staple of competitive play in later Tekken titles. A PlayStation icon and fighting game favorite. Tekken 3 launched in arcades in 1997, and while it was already a hit there, its PlayStation release in 1998 skyrocketed its popularity. Within its first year, the game sold over 4 million copies, making it one of the fastest-selling PS1 titles ever. By the end of its life cycle, it had sold more than 8.5 million copies worldwide, outselling Street Fighter Alpha 3, Mortal Kombat 4, and every other fighting game on the system combined. It remains one of the top-selling fighting games of all time, only rivaled by later Tekken titles and Super Smash Bros. Games. Even today, Tekken 3 is still widely regarded as one of the greatest fighting games of all time, appearing on countless best games ever lists.